Adam, English American. Hyde. The first thing Aaron noticed was the smell. Not bad, not good. Just alien. Spices he couldn't name, metal warmth in the air, and something faintly sweet, like burning sugar mixed with rain. The sign above the shop flickered weakly. Zarketh Family Eatery, EST. 4121, Aaron stood on the cracked street of Sector 9, holding a small data chip in his palm. The inheritance notice still felt unreal. He wasn't rich, he wasn't important, he wasn't even supposed to be here. And yet, an alien had left him everything. The last customer 2 weeks earlier, the old alien had collapsed in this very restaurant. Zarketh, tall, hunched, four-eyed, and always smiling, had served Aaron meals for years. Cheap ones, warm ones, the kind you eat when life's gone wrong. When the old alien died, the med drones asked if anyone knew him. Only Aaron stepped forward. Only Aaron attended the cremation. Only Aaron received the message. To the human who sat alone but never treated me like less, I leave what little I have. That little turned out to be the restaurant. And something else. The locked room, the inheritance registry, was simple. Keys, ownership codes, legal confirmation, but there was a sealed room in the back, no biometric lock, no password. Just an old symbol carved into the metal door, 3 intersecting circles. When Aaron touched it, the door hissed open. Inside, the lights flickered on automatically, and that's when he saw it. A small dining table set for 3. Plates neatly stacked. 2 smaller chairs, 1 large, dust-covered, untouched for years. On the table sat a recording crystal. Aaron activated it. The air shimmered and a hologram appeared. Zarketh, alive. "The message, my human friend," the hologram said softly. "If you are seeing this, then I have failed to return." He bowed his head. "I did not tell you everything, because to do so would have put you in danger." The room seemed colder. "I was not just a cook, I was hiding." Images flickered, ships burning, soldiers in black armor, a city in flames. "My people were hunted, my mate and child escaped, or so I prayed." Zarketh's voice trembled. "This restaurant was meant to be our refuge. If they ever return and find this place, they will need someone strong, someone kind." The hologram looked directly at Aaron. "Please protect them." The recording ended. Silence swallowed the room. Aaron sat down heavily in one of the chairs. He had inherited more than a restaurant. He had inherited a promise. The knock 3 days later, the bell above the door chimed. Aaron looked up from cleaning a table. 2 figures stood in the doorway. One tall and thin female, her skin shimmering faint blue, eyes filled with exhaustion and fear. And beside her a child, small, four-eyed, clutching her mother's hand tightly. The woman's gaze locked onto Aaron. "You are not Zarketh," she said softly. "No," Aaron replied, "I'm not." The child stared at him, studied him, then whispered something in her native tongue. The mother's expression shifted from fear to heartbreak. "He is gone," she said, voice cracking. Aaron nodded. "I'm sorry." Silence filled the restaurant, then the woman bowed deeply. "He spoke of you," she said, "the human who ate alone but shared his food anyway." Tears welled in her eyes. "My name is Lyra. This is my daughter, Kesh." Kesh took a hesitant step forward and placed a small metal token on the counter. "Our home was destroyed. We were hunted. We had nowhere else to go." Her voice shook. "Please, may we stay?" The choice Aaron didn't hesitate. "Your home," he said. Lyra's knees nearly buckled in relief. That night they cooked together. The old recipes came back to life. The smells filled the street again. Neighbors stopped to stare. Some smiled. Some whispered. Word spread fast. The alien restaurant was open again, and it wasn't empty anymore. The threat 3 weeks later, the warning came. A black ship hovered over Sector 9. Enforcers, the same ones who destroyed Lyra's world. They marched into the restaurant, weapons humming. "Property seizure," the lead officer announced. "This establishment belongs to the Dominion." Aaron stepped forward. "This place belongs to me," he said calmly. "Legally," the officer laughed. "You're human?" "Yes," Aaron replied. "And under interspecies law, this business was transferred to me willingly." He slid the data chip across the counter. The officer scanned it. His expression changed. The law was clear. They couldn't touch it. And more importantly, they couldn't touch them. The enforcers left in silence. Lyra covered her mouth, tears streaming. "You risked everything," she whispered. Aaron shrugged. "Someone once gave me a place to sit when I had nowhere else to go." A new legacy, the restaurant flourished. Humans, aliens, travelers from a dozen systems. It became a place of peace in a violent galaxy. And above the entrance, Aaron added a new sign beneath the old one. "Zarketh Family Restaurant, all are welcome." At night, when the lights dimmed, Aaron sometimes thought he saw a familiar shadow near the counter. A tall alien, smiling proudly. And for the first time in a long while, the universe felt a little less cruel. The peace didn't last. It never does. The morning sun filtered through the restaurant's wide front glass, casting long, golden lines across the tables. Lyra was preparing food in the back, her movements careful but steady. Kesh sat on a stool near the counter, swinging her small legs while watching Aaron clean a cracked display panel. For the first time in weeks, the place felt alive. Then the ground vibrated. A deep mechanical hum rolled through the street. Low, predatory, wrong. Aaron froze. Kesh's ears flattened instantly. Her eyes went wide. "They found us," she whispered. Before Aaron could ask who, the windows darkened as something massive blocked the sunlight. Outside, hovering just above the street, was a black armored carrier, its hull etched with Dominion markings, ancient, ruthless, unmistakable. The same symbol from Zarketh's recording. Lyra stepped out of the kitchen, her face draining of color. "They weren't supposed to find us," she whispered. "Not this fast." The restaurant door slid open with a hiss. 3 armored figures entered. Tall, cold, mechanical augmentations fused with flesh, Dominion reclaimers. The lead officer scanned the room with glowing red optics. "Zarketh's property," it said. "By Dominion decree, all associated assets are to be seized." Its gaze locked onto Kesh, starting with the child. The line in the floor. Aaron stepped forward before Lyra could move. "She's not going anywhere," he said calmly, the reclaimer's head tilted. "You are human. You have no jurisdiction here." Aaron tapped the counter and projected the legal seal into the air. "Under Interstellar Inheritance Law Article 17, he said, voice steady, "this establishment and all persons within it fall under my protection." The room went silent. The officer hesitated. "You would defy the Dominion for aliens?" Aaron didn't raise his voice. "I'd defy anyone trying to take my family." Behind him, Lyra gasped softly. The word family hit harder than any weapon. The reclaimer raised its arm, and the entire restaurant powered up. Hidden systems activated. Energy barriers flared. Old tech, far older than Dominion design, hummed to life beneath the floors. Zarketh hadn't just left a restaurant. He had left a sanctuary. The reclaimers stepped back. "This structure is classified," one said uneasily. The lead unit hissed in frustration. "This is not over, human." The soldiers retreated, their ship lifting away into the sky. Silence followed. Then Kesh ran forward and hugged Aaron's leg tightly. "You protected us," she said, her voice shaking. Aaron knelt and placed a hand on her head. "That's what family does." Lyra knelt beside them, tears falling freely. "My mate believed in you," she whispered. "Now I understand why." Outside, the city returned to its noise, but something had changed. The restaurant was no longer just a place to eat. It was a symbol, a line drawn between fear and courage, and somewhere far away the Dominion took notice. That night no one slept. The restaurant was quiet but not peaceful. The walls hummed faintly now, like something ancient had awakened beneath them. Aaron sat at one of the tables, a mug of cold stim coffee untouched in his hands. Across from him, Lyra traced strange symbols across the tabletop with her fingers, symbols that glowed faintly in response. "They're reacting to you," Aaron said. Lyra nodded slowly. "Because you are recognized as the bearer now." "The bearer of what?" he asked. She hesitated, then looked toward the back of the restaurant, the sealed floor hatch Zarketh had always forbidden anyone from touching. "The heart," she whispered. The truth beneath the floor with trembling hands. Lyra pressed her palm against the floor panel. The room shuddered. Hidden locks disengaged with a deep, echoing thrum, and the floor split open, revealing a descending staircase bathed in pale blue light. Kesh clutched Aaron's sleeve. "Mama says this place was built before the war." Before the war, that meant before the Dominion existed. They descended carefully. The air grew warmer, older. At the bottom was a chamber unlike anything Aaron had ever seen. Smooth, curved walls etched with symbols that seemed to move when not directly observed. At the center stood a crystal column, pulsing like a living heart. Lyra fell to her knees. This is impossible." "What is it?" Aaron asked. Her voice trembled. "A sanctum core, a pre-Dominion relic. Entire civilizations were wiped out trying to control even one." The crystal pulsed brighter as Aaron stepped closer. And then it reacted. Light surged outward, wrapping around him like a living thing. Images flooded his mind. Worlds burning, fleets falling, and humans, primitive, scattered, underestimated, standing their ground again and again. The crystal wasn't choosing a species, it was choosing a will. Aaron staggered back, gasping. Lyra stared in horror and awe. "It bonded with you," she whispered. "That's impossible." "Humans were never meant to be guardians," Aaron finished, his voice low. "But here we are." The price of power, Kesh suddenly cried out. The crystal flared violently. Lyra grabbed her, panic flooding her face. They've found it. The Dominion felt the activation. Almost on cue, the city alarms wailed. Above them, the sky roared, not one ship, dozens. A full Dominion suppression fleet emerged from hyperspace. Aaron clenched his fists. So this is it, he said quietly. Lyra met his gaze. Once they know the core is active, they will never stop. What happens if they take it? She swallowed. They will control every jump gate, every system, every species. And if we destroy it, her voice broke, then everything it's been protecting dies. The restaurant shook violently, dust fell from the ceiling. Kesh looked up at Aaron, eyes wide with fear but also trust. You promised, she said softly. You said you'd protect us. Aaron looked at the child, then at the glowing heart of an ancient power, then at the world above, unaware of how close it was to falling. He stood, straightened his shoulders, and made a decision that would echo across the stars. Then we don't run, he said. We defend. The crystal responded, bright, brilliant, alive, and far above the Dominion fleet prepared to fire. The sky above Sector 9 burned. Not with fire, but with arrival. Dozens of Dominion warships tore through hyperspace, their massive hulls blotting out the stars one by one. The city's defense grid screamed in panic as targeting systems failed, overridden by technology centuries beyond anything the sector possessed. Inside the restaurant, the floor trembled violently. Kesh clutched Aaron's jacket, her small body shaking. They're here, she whispered. All of them. Lyra stood frozen, staring at the glowing crystal at the heart of the chamber beneath the floor. Its light pulsed faster now, reacting not to fear but to purpose. Aaron took a breath. All right, he said calmly. Then we stop them here. The awakening the crystal responded to his voice. Light surged upward, surrounding him in a column of shimmering energy. Symbols lifted from the walls and floated into the air, orbiting him like stars. Lyra shielded her eyes. What's happening? She cried. The crystal spoke. Not in words, but in understanding. Aaron felt it pour into him, knowledge, history, loss. He saw the galaxy before the Dominion, diverse, free, united. He saw how the ancient races had created the Sanctum Cores as guardians, not weapons. Anchors of balance, and he saw why the core had chosen him. Humans were not the strongest, not the smartest, not the oldest, but they endured, they adapted, they stood when others fell, and when everything was lost, they rebuilt. The light faded. Aaron stood changed, not glowing, not godlike, just certain. Above them, a thunderous boom shook the city. They're deploying ground units, Lyra said urgently. Once they land, they'll burn everything. Aaron looked at her and smiled. Then let's give them something to remember. The first strike, the restaurant doors blasted open as Dominion troopers stormed in, weapons glowing hot. Target acquired, one barked. Neutralize, the floor surged upward. Energy rippled through the walls, flinging the soldiers backward like ragdolls. The entire building lifted, rose, ripping free from its foundations as ancient thrusters roared to life beneath it. The restaurant wasn't just a building. It was a ship. A fortress, a relic of a war long forgotten. Outside, civilians screamed and scattered as the structure ascended into the sky, glowing like a newborn star. Inside, Aaron gripped a console that had emerged from the floor. Lyra stared in disbelief. Zarketh, he never told me. He didn't want you to carry this burden, Aaron said quietly. He wanted you safe. The city's air defenses opened fire. The shots bounced harmlessly off the glowing shield. The Dominion fleet reacted instantly. All units, a harsh voice barked over comms. Engage target, priority Omega. The sky exploded into chaos. A stand against the void energy beams tore through the atmosphere. The ancient ship, the restaurant, moved with impossible grace, dodging, weaving, shielding the city below. Aaron's hands moved instinctively across controls he'd never seen before. Each motion felt right. The core hummed in approval. A Dominion cruiser lunged forward, weapons charging. Aaron clenched his jaw. Not today. A beam of pure white light erupted from the ship's core, slicing clean through the cruiser's hull. It split in half, tumbling away in silence. The battlefield froze. No one had expected resistance, certainly not from a human. Kesh watched from behind the console, eyes wide with awe. You're glowing, she whispered. Aaron glanced down. His hands shimmered faintly with golden light. I think, he said softly, this place doesn't just protect people. It believes in them. The cost victory didn't come without a price. Alarms screamed inside the ship. The core pulsed erratically. Lyra ran to Aaron, fear flooding her voice. It's overloading. It was never meant to be used like this, not alone. What happens if it collapses? He asked. Her voice broke. It will take everything with it. Aaron looked through the viewport, at the city below, at the fleeing civilians, at the burning wrecks of Dominion ships retreating in panic. Then he looked at Kesh. She was crying silently, holding onto his arm. "You promised," she whispered. He knelt before her. "And I keep my promises." Aaron turned back to the core. "Is there another way?" he asked. The crystal pulsed softly. Images flooded his mind of transfer, of sacrifice, of balance. The core didn't need a guardian. It needed a successor, someone born to endure, someone who could grow with it. His eyes widened. "No," he breathed. "She's just a child." But the truth was undeniable. Kesh was not just Zarketh's daughter. She was born of a lineage engineered to interface with the core. The core had awakened for her. Aaron looked at the girl, at her tears, at her fear, and at the future that could still exist. He made his choice. The promise. Aaron knelt and placed the core's light gently around Kesh. She cried out once, then fell silent as the glow wrapped her like a cocoon. Lyra screamed her name. The light faded. Kesh stood there unharmed, different. Her eyes glowed softly with the same light as the core. "It's okay," she said calmly. "I can feel it. It's not hurting me." The alarm stopped. The ship stabilized. Outside, the Dominion fleet turned and fled. The battle was over. But the Costa. Aaron collapsed to one knee, drained, human limits finally catching up. Lyra rushed to him, tears streaming. "You saved us," she sobbed. "You saved everyone." He smiled weakly. "I just kept my promise." Epilogue. Tees above the city, the stars slowly returned. The galaxy would remember this day. The day a human stood between extinction and survival. The day a child became a guardian. And the day the Dominion learned a terrible truth. Humanity was no longer watching from the sidelines. The galaxy did not sleep that night. Across countless systems, long-dormant sensors flickered back to life. Ancient observers, machines older than empires, turned their gaze toward one small, unremarkable sector. Because something impossible had happened. A sanctum core had awakened, and it had chosen a child. The weight of a star. Kesh stood at the center of the chamber, light gently orbiting her like fireflies. The glow no longer burned, it breathed. Slow, calm, alive, Lyra approached carefully, hands trembling. "Kesh, can you hear me?" The child turned. Her eyes still held that soft glow, but her smile was the same, gentle, familiar. "I'm here, Mama," she said. "It's loud, but it's not hurting me." Aaron watched in awe and fear. He could feel the power in the air, not violent, not wild, patient, as if the universe itself were holding its breath. "The core bonded to her," Lyra whispered. "Not as a weapon, as a steward." Aaron frowned. "A steward of what?" Kesh looked up at him. "Balance," she said simply. The word echoed through the chamber. The ones who heard the call far beyond the system, ancient beacons, awakened. The keepers, an order thought extinct, rose from hidden worlds, from shattered moons and drifting arcs. They had guarded the galaxy once, and now they were afraid. "The core has chosen," one whispered, "and it chose a child." Another voice, colder, "Then the age of control is over." The warning A ripple tore through space. The restaurant ship's sensors screamed as a new presence appeared, larger than the Dominion fleet, darker than the void itself. Not warships. Hunters, creatures born between dimensions, drawn to energy like the cores. Aaron felt it instantly. "This isn't the Dominion," he said quietly. "This is something worse." Lyra looked at the sensor readings and went pale. "They're called the Devourers," she whispered. "They erase stars, civilizations vanish without a trace." Kesh's hands clenched. "They're coming for me." Silence filled the room, then Aaron placed a hand on her shoulder. "No," he said firmly. "They're coming for us." A choice no child should make. The core pulsed urgently. Images flooded Kesh's mind, worlds burning, people screaming, then silence. She stumbled back, tears streaming. "I can stop them," she whispered, "if I leave. If I go far enough away, they'll follow me instead." Lyra cried out, "No, you're just a child." Kesh shook her head. "I feel older, like I remember things that never happened." Aaron knelt before her. "You don't have to do this alone," he said gently. "No one gets to decide your fate for you." She looked at him, eyes shining. "You stayed when everyone else ran," she said. "You protected us when you didn't have to." She took his hand. "Will you come with me?" The question hung in the air like a held breath. Outside, space itself began to twist as the Devourers drew closer. Aaron smiled sadly. "Yeah," he said, "I think I will." The beginning of the journey, the ancient ship roared to life, energy surging through its hull. Above the planet, stars warped as a gateway began to form, one that led beyond known space. Lyra watched from the command platform, tears streaming down her face. "Bring her back," she whispered. "Both of you." The ship lifted into the void. Behind it, the galaxy held its breath. Ahead waited monsters, forgotten gods, and truths older than time. And at the heart of it all, a human, a child, and a power meant to reshape the stars. The stars thinned. Then they vanished. Beyond the last mapped systems, beyond the charts and legends, space itself began to fracture. Colors twisted into impossible hues, light bending in ways no human eye was meant to see. The ship, once a humble restaurant, slipped through the boundary like a whispered secret. Kesh stood at the viewport, her small hand pressed against the glass. "This is where they come from," she said softly. "The place between places." Aaron felt the ship shudder beneath his feet. Even with the core stabilizing it, the vessel groaned under the strain of reality itself resisting their presence. "What are we walking into?" he asked. Kesh didn't answer right away. Then quietly, "The cradle of the Devourers." The void that watches back the void wasn't empty. It watched. Shapes drifted in the darkness, vast, slow-moving shadows the size of continents. They did not swim or fly. They existed, bending space around them like gravity wells. Each one carried the weight of extinct stars. Aaron's breath caught. "Those are alive?" "Yes," Kesh whispered, "and hungry." The core pulsed sharply, projecting a shield just as something immense turned toward them. A single eye larger than cities opened in the darkness. A voice echoed directly inside their minds. "Child of light." The ship trembled. "You carry what was taken from us." Kesh clutched her head, crying out as the presence pressed against her thoughts. Aaron stepped forward instinctively, placing himself between her and the cosmic horror. "She's not yours," he said, voice steady despite the terror clawing at his spine. "And neither is that power." Silence followed, then a ripple of amusement. "You are small." "I know," Aaron replied, "but I'm still here." The truth of the Devourers, the void shifted. Images flooded the space around them, ancient civilizations rising then vanishing, stars collapsing, galaxies hollowed out. "They are not monsters," Kesh whispered through tears. "They are survivors." The Devourers had once been guardians too, beings created to maintain balance at the dawn of existence. But time had starved them, and hunger had twisted purpose into instinct. "They don't destroy because they hate," Kesh said. "They destroy because they're starving." Aaron clenched his fists. "There has to be another way." The largest presence loomed closer. "Give us the core," it intoned, "or be consumed." The ship's shields cracked, warning lights screamed. Aaron looked at Kesh. "Can you do it?" he asked gently. "Can you change what the core does?" She swallowed hard. "I don't know," she whispered, "but I can try." The choice that changed everything. Kesh stepped forward, lifting her hands toward the void. Light erupted from her body, not violent but warm. A spectrum of color that pulsed like a heartbeat. The core answered. Its energy didn't lash out, it reached. The Devourers recoiled, confused. For the first time in eons, something offered them more than destruction. Memory, connection, purpose. They saw what they once were, guardians, builders, protectors of balance, not its executioners. The void trembled. Then slowly, impossibly, the Devourers began to change. Their monstrous forms softened, light returning to their cores like dying stars reigniting. The hunger faded, the silence broke. "We remember," the void whispered. A new covenant, the space around them stabilized. The crushing pressure lifted. The Devourers withdrew, no longer predators but wardens once more. Before retreating, one presence lingered. "The child carries the spark," it said. "The human carries the will." A ripple of gratitude passed through the void. Then they were gone. The stars returned. The galaxy breathed again. Aftermath, the ship drifted quietly now, systems stabilizing. Kesh collapsed into Aaron's arms, exhausted but smiling. "It's over," she whispered. Aaron held her tightly, tears streaming down his face. "No," he said softly, "it's just beginning." Outside, the stars shone brighter than ever before. A new age had begun, one forged not by conquest but by compassion. The galaxy did not celebrate at first. There were no parades, no songs, no monuments carved in stone, only silence. A deep, careful silence, as if the universe itself were afraid to breathe too loudly after what had just happened. The stars slowly returned to their natural paths. Trade routes reopened. War fleets powered down. The great fear that had haunted civilizations for millennia, the Devourers were gone, not destroyed, healed. And at the center of it all was a small, drifting ship and a human who never wanted to be a hero. The quiet after the storm, Aaron stood on the observation deck, staring out at a newborn nebula forming where the Devourers had once consumed entire systems. Soft colors swirled like living paint. Kesh sat beside him, her feet dangling, her glow now gentle instead of overwhelming. "They're rebuilding," she said softly. "The Devourers, they remember who they were." Aaron smiled faintly. "Guess we all just needed to remember who we were supposed to be." She looked at him with something deeper than gratitude. "You didn't have to stay," she said. "You could have gone back, lived a normal life." He shrugged. "I tried normal once. It didn't stick." They both laughed quietly. Behind them, Lyra watched, older now, wearier but proud beyond words. Her child was no longer just a survivor. She was a bridge between eras. The choice that echoed words spread fast. Across the galaxy, species who had once feared humanity now spoke its name with reverence. The human who stood between the void and everything else. Delegations arrived, scientists, leaders, wanderers, seeking answers, guidance, or simply to see the one who had changed fate with compassion instead of conquest. Aaron refused titles, no guardian, no chosen one, no savior. He asked for one thing only, a place where anyone, human or not, could come, rest, and start again. So they rebuilt it, not a fortress, not a throne, but a restaurant. On a quiet world at the edge of known space, a familiar sign flickered to life once more. Zarketh Family Restaurant, all are welcome. The final night years later, the restaurant bustled with life. Aliens of every shape and size filled the tables, laughing, arguing, sharing meals. At the counter stood Aaron, hair streaked with silver now, pouring drinks like he always had. Kesh, taller now, wiser, glowing softly, helped serve food, her laughter echoing through the hall. A young traveler approached the counter, eyes wide. "Is it true," they asked nervously, "that this place saved the galaxy?" Aaron chuckled and slid them a plate. "Nah," he said, "it just fed the right people at the right time." The traveler hesitated. "And the stories about you?" Aaron leaned on the counter, eyes warm. "I was just a guy who didn't walk away." The last light that night, long after the doors closed, Aaron stepped outside. The stars were brilliant, peaceful. Kesh joined him, resting her head on his shoulder. "Do you think the universe will be okay?" she asked. He looked up at the endless sky. "Yeah," he said softly, "as long as someone's willing to care." Above them, a single star flared brighter than the rest, then settled, steady and calm. Not a warning, a promise. Promise.